take a look at the first part here. Okay, this is quite a simple question. Okay, so all of you read quietly, yeah? So I will read out for you. A motorist traveled 2/5 of his journey at 80 kilometers an hour. Okay, after which he decreased his speed to 60 kilometers an hour and completed the rest of his journey in 3.5 hours. All right, part A, what was the total distance he traveled? B, given that the motorist reached his destination at 1:30 p.m., at what time did he start his journey? Okay, so you can see that even though this question is relatively simple, but you must always draw the distance speed timeline, okay, for you to visualize what is happening in the question. Okay? For questions involving ratio, percentage, you use model, you use unitary method. But for question involving speed, under the topic of speed, we use distance or speed timeline, okay, to illustrate how the journey is taking place. Okay, so I will show you now. You can see here. So a motorist traveled 2/5 of his journey. So there are two parts to his journey, right? So the first part, he is traveling at 80 kilometers an hour. All right. So the first two units, 80 kilometers an hour. The second part of his journey, what happens is that he decreased his speed to 60 kilometers per hour. So if I were to draw this timeline, okay, I will divide it into two parts. So the first part here at 80 kilometers an hour, and the second part of his journey is 60 kilometers an hour. So the next step that I'm going to do, okay, I'm not going to calculate yet. I'm going to do now, I'm going to write all the information inside. Okay, I'm going to write down all the information inside in the question, okay, into the speed timeline. All right, so you can see here 2/5 of his journey. Okay, so the first part of his journey, he covers 2 units, and then the second part of his journey, 3 units. Okay, so the first part of his journey, 2 units, 80 kilometers an hour. So this is the speed, and then after he decreased his speed to 60 kilometers an hour, and the next information given is that he completed the rest of his journey in 3.5 hours. So that means from here to here, the time taken is 3.5 hours. So what was the total distance he traveled? Okay. Now, you see here, you know the triangle, right? You know the triangle? Okay, DST, right? Okay, D, distance, speed. In any speed question, if they were to give you any two of the information here, okay, if they were to give you any two of the information, straight away you find the third information. Okay, let's say in this question here, they give you speed and they give you time. So what do? You find the distance, right? That is usually the case. Okay, if they give you two of the information, straight away you find the third information, which is that you can calculate. In this instance, is the distance in the second part of his journey. Now let's take a look here. All right. So in part 2 of his journey, distance is calculated by speed times time. And since the speed is 60 kilometers an hour, the time is 3.5 hours. You have 210 kilometers. So 210 kilometers is the second part of the journey. Okay, it is 3 parts of the journey, or 3 units. So 3 units equals to 210 kilometers. And we can calculate 1 unit, 70 kilometers. Okay, and they ask you what was the total distance he traveled. The total distance is 5 units, so 5 units equals to 70 multiplied by 5, you get 350 kilometers. Okay, so relatively quite simple, 350. Okay, next part of the question. Given that the motorist reached his destination at 1:30 p.m., at what time did he start his journey? Okay, at what time did he start his journey? So at this point here, it is 1:30 p.m. So he wants to know, okay, the question is asking at what time did he start his journey? So you need to work backwards, right? You need to go backwards. So how do you do this question? Okay, so in the second part of this journey, we know that he takes 2 parts. Okay, the part of his journey, it is 2 units. Okay, since 1 unit is 70 kilometers, 2 units will be 70 multiplied by 2, which is, okay, 140 kilometers. So the second part of the journey is 350 kilometers. The first part is 140 kilometers, right? So we know that since the first part is 140 kilometers, what is the time taken? We can calculate the time taken. Time is distance divided by speed. So what is the distance? Distance is 140 and the speed is given as 80 kilometers an hour. So you get 1.75 hours. Okay. So what is the total time taken? 1.75 plus 3.5, you get 5.25 hours, or if I convert to hours and minutes, it will be 5 hours and 15 minutes. All right. So the question asks, at what time did he start his journey? Okay, so he reached his destination at 1:30 p.m. So we need to work backwards. Okay, we need to work backwards. Okay, you subtract with 5 hours and 15 minutes, you get 8:15 a.m. Okay, 8:15 a.m. All right, everybody got that? Any question? Okay, very good. Huh? So this is the first type of speed question, which is journey by parts. So there's only one object. In this instance, is the motorist, and the motorist has traveled 2 parts in the journey. The first part, he traveled at 80 kilometers an hour, and the second part of the journey is travels at 60 kilometers an hour. Okay, so this is how